Hi everyone, this is Robert Schmid. I am Deloitte Digital's Chief IoT Technologist. I also go by Mr. IoT, and welcome to Coffee with Mr. IoT. Today is a bit of a different show. We have Impact Day today. It's a day where Deloitte, overall worldwide, 200,000 people, we give back, we go to our communities, and we volunteer our time. Many of us volunteer outside that time too, but this is a dedicated one day, so about 200,000 people today out there helping. I am here today in San Francisco at the San Francisco State University, is that correct?
Yeah.
And I have with me a group of people, which is exciting. I'm slightly conscientious of the fact that I'm sitting in the front, but I'll let them talk in a second. We also have with us my co-host Rachel. Hi Rachel, how are you doing? Rachel is on mute. She said she was doing good. I just talked to her a minute ago. And then we have Brian with us. So, with that, let me start by, why don't you, AP, give a little bit of a background, what we're doing here and why we're here.
Sure. Hi, my name is AP. I'm with Deloitte, Senior Manager. At Impact Day, this is our 16th Impact Day. In past 16 years, Deloitte's been doing this. We've had a great amount of success working with lots and tons of nonprofit organizations. It's one of our ways to give back to the community, and especially today with hands-on tech. We're out here in beautiful, sunny San Francisco. We are going to be working with hands-on tech, educating our partners with hands-on tech and a ton of other nonprofit organizations about digital technologies.
Rachel, can you hear us?
I can. Sorry, it's hard to go off and on mute with the connection out here. I apologize.
So AP talked about how we are sitting here in a conference room and we're doing hands-on tech. I can see you are not in a conference room. What are you doing today? Because I think it's a great contrast to how we here help through technology and you're actually doing something with your actual hands. What are you doing today, Rachel? Tell us.
We are. So I'm at Belmont Academy Charter School in fabulous West Philadelphia, and we're helping build a playground, specifically a golf pit, actually. So behind me, I don't know if you guys can see the team in action, but we're helping elementary school here build out some of their equipment and get their hands dirty. And math was used, though. We did some crazy geometry in the back there to figure out the angles. So a little bit of science mixed in with some hands-on help.
Which job did you sign up for, Rachel? Just curious. No judgment or anything.
So I will be. I helped with the layout and the cutting, and then we'll be hammering in the actual boards here in just a bit.
Cool. Cool. Very cool. Hey, do you want to talk to? You want to bring someone over from your team and have them talk to us? And in the meantime, I'll introduce Brian.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Brian, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Why don't you give us a little intro, talk about what you do, and how we work together?
Sure. So my name is Brian Mattis. I'm the program director of a program called Hands-On Tech. And basically the goal of Hands-On Tech, it's a nonprofit program focused on other nonprofits. And the idea is that we can leverage technology as a tool to help other nonprofits become more innovative, more effective, and more empowered to complete their missions, in a more effective and less resource-intensive manners. I think we've spent we're going into our starting our 5th year in August, and we spent the last 5 years really just building a network of organizations here in the Bay Area, and a real community focused on just improving tech and bringing all the tech people at nonprofits together, because it's not always at the forefront. Most nonprofits aren't focused on tech like large companies are. That capacity building that companies spend millions and millions of dollars. Nonprofits are very focused on the mission and the people that they're serving. So, trying to shift some of that effort towards, improving internally so they can improve externally and serve more people can be a challenge, but it's been a very worthwhile challenge.
So, Brian, I did some work for a nonprofit, and my experience was, as you said, nonprofits don't necessarily focus on tech. one of the things I found is that you talked about how they focus on their mission. Much of what is about communicating that mission, and so I would assume that social has become a big part of that. So what do nonprofits do today around social and tech? I'm just curious.
Well, I think right now, I think it's a larger issue around social media in general for not only nonprofits but a lot of other businesses. Is you're spending lots of effort to engage people through social media, but then figuring out what the return is on that. You spend all this effort, and I guess if you're selling a product, it makes it easy because you can link. I posted on Facebook. Someone clicked the Facebook link to our website, and from our website to buy a product. Less so, when you don't sell anything. Yes, donations are easily, you can follow the process of a donation. But for organizations that are just posting actual content for people to read, other than clicks and shares, I think a lot of nonprofits are trying to figure out what's next for them. What's kind of the next level of social media engagement that they can start to shift their organizations towards, especially now that it's becoming so much effort between. It's basically a 24-hour, news cycle of, all right, so we need to engage all these people on all of these different platforms. So it's just, I think, nonprofits are using it, probably, obviously, some not to its full potential, but for a lot of them, it's now looking at, all right, so we use them all, now what? How can we quantify the work that we're putting into it, into, our actual mission, and prove to funders and stuff that it's worthwhile that we're having people spend their time on this.
Thank you, Brian. So I wanted to introduce Kevin, who sits to my left, and Kevin actually works for a nonprofit. And so, Kevin, you just want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I work at a nonprofit here in San Francisco, actually just a few blocks down, here in the Soma district called Source Plowshares. We're comprehensive. We provide comprehensive wraparound services to veterans. We do everything from supportive housing for homeless veterans, employment and training, as well as mental health and social services. And then we also have a policy arm which takes everything we learn on the ground from our direct services to make meaningful recommendations at the local, state, and national level. And then what makes it truly unique is we also have a legal department that handles disability claims as well as discharge upgrades to help veterans receive the benefits they rightfully earn. And what I do at the organization, I do development and communications, which means I go out in the community to establish different types of partnerships to support our programs and services and to expand our capacity. And then on the communications front, I work with a small team of 3 and to run our communications channel, to continue to engage with others online and build our community and digital presence and make sure that people are aware of our mission and what's going on here in San Francisco and the issues that pertain to veterans in our community.
So I want to go around and I want to ask each of us a question that I feel is somewhat personal. For me, so when I was a client, actually, I missed Impact Day. I worked at Deloitte, then I left, became a client, and now I'm back. And when I was a client of Deloitte, I actually went with my Deloitte team and we joined Impact Day. And so we painted a school. We painted a mural on the wall. And for me, the best part of that whole day, I mean, it was fun. We had a good time. We painted each other half of the time, not half of the time, but it was kind of fun. We had a good time. But at the end of the day, the kids came in. And to see those kids smile, well, one time at Dreamforce, we put together bikes, and we gave the bikes to the kids and saw the kids actually how excited they get. This is what really touched me, and this is when it really hit home, how actually doing something for the people is more than money. It's actually making an impact in their lives. So I wanted to ask each one of us, and I'll start with you, Kevin, if you can please tell us a personal story of how you with veterans work together. I'd love to hear a story that impacted you and why it impacted you.
Well, actually, I'm over 3 years ago, I'm actually a former client of Source Plowshares. After I left college in 2011, when the recession was kind of at its peak, it was hard to find employment, especially as a veteran, and I was in the infantry, so I had a tough time actually translating my skills into the private sector. And so I actually had a friend refer me to an organization called Source Plowshares, and I applied for a job as an employment researcher there. I figured since I was unemployed, what's the best thing to do is, find your next job is do employment research. And so I landed on it at Storage to Plowshares as the AmeriCorps Vista, and that's actually how I got introduced to Brian about 3 years ago. So we've been working together off and on, and he's been able to lend a lot of knowledge to me. And then and when I got to Swords, I was actually couch surfing for about 2 years. So I actually used one of their homelessness service programs called Supportive Services for Veteran Families. And then as well as use their legal services to upgrade one of my disability claims that I've been fighting for years against the VA. And so being able to use their services and see firsthand of how effective the organization is has been really meaningful to me, and been able to be really effective on being able to communicate how our services really impact veterans in the community and at large.
So that's impressive. You actually are an example of a veteran. You were in the military, and now you're actually helping other veterans. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Brian, your name came up. Why don't you talk about an example that personally touched you in your work?
Yeah, so I think, I started very early in my life volunteering and getting involved in the community, and found a real passion with the hands-on work that, kind of the opposite of what I do now. I work a lot with Habitat for Humanity and building houses and working with volunteers and doing that sort of work, which I really loved. I loved that aspect. But then as I've kind of shifted now into this more technology-focused role, it's been really amazing to see the difference that people can take. I can't devalue the hands-on work whatsoever, because it's amazing what volunteers can accomplish in a short amount of time. But at the same time, it's amazing to see what people with actual skills, if they apply them to an organization that lacks those skills, can accomplish in a short amount of time. Today's event with Deloitte and Hands-On Tech for our Impact Day event is a perfect example. You've got people from Deloitte who are bringing skills that most nonprofits, either the expertise they don't have or they can't afford the expertise to bring in-house. To link those two together, I think is a really amazing experience. And, I've seen it happen now for, the last 4 or 5 years working with the program. And each and every time it's just amazing to watch as nonprofits are able to just kind of like make the connection and see that light bulb go off at the end of the day and be like, wow, I actually learned something today from someone that, had I not come today, I wouldn't have really discovered a new skill, a new tool, whatever it might have been. And I've, seen it time and time again. And then, to be able to see people over and over, Kevin, a perfect example of someone who's come to a couple of our events and seeing them actually grow as an organization, me getting their emails and their social media. It's hopefully they were able to improve those aspects each and every time that, they're able to come to one of our events. So that's, it's really cool to develop and see organizations grow over time.
Thank you. If you're joining us late, this is Robert Schmid with Coffee at Coffee with Mr. IoT, a weekly show we do every Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Jessica, I haven't given you a chance to introduce yourself yet, so why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a story of when you were touched by volunteering you did.
Okay. So hi, my name is Jessica. Let me scoot it in a little bit. Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm a Deloitte analyst working in the Deloitte digital practice out of the San Francisco office in the city that we're in. So I work primarily with customer experience software programs, so doing software implementations, helping some of our clients build out a better customer experience program. So that's kind of my work background. So in terms of a touching volunteer experience that I've had, I just wanted to reiterate the fact that the work that we're doing with Hands-On Tech is really great. This is our second year doing an Impact Day, partnering with Brian in Hands-On Tech. And last year was a great experience for me. It was my first Impact Day at Deloitte since I've been with the company for about 2 years, so it's my second year. And I'm one of the site leads for it, as I was last year. But it was great being able to actually talk and network with the nonprofits. We gave presentations last year, as well as we'll be doing this year on various topics such as social media tools, the various tools and how nonprofits can use them, how to improve your web presence, search engine optimization, and other various topics similar to that. And so the format of our Impact Day is essentially we have broken up into different tables. There'll be Deloitte practitioners at the table as well as nonprofit members. And so they actually get really great hands-on experience talking to each other. Deloitte practitioners share some of their stories with various clients and talk about the success metrics that they've had. And so it's a really great way for different people to share their experiences and learn from each other.
Any particular story that touched you? Any nonprofit that really you felt like, wow, that really touched me?
So since I was kind of coordinating it, I got to see overall. We did feedback. Brian collected a lot of feedback from all the different nonprofits. So there were a lot of really great stories, but overall we had really positive feedback from all the different nonprofits.
Hey Rachel, I'm gonna take you off mute here. Did we do? You said you were gonna bring in a guest. Did you lose your guest? Oh, hang on. I need to unmute you. Sorry, hang on. Rachel, you're still muted. You muted it. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Great. Thank you.
All right, perfect. So I'm with Niles, who was also earlier a star basketball player with the kids. Although he had a little bit of a height advantage, if you can tell by my great videoing skills. The kids are like literally 4 or 5 years old, so they're teeny down here at his knees, and he's up there. So Niles, this is your second Impact Day. So tell us what office, what do you do for the firm, and tell us a little bit about your experience so far.
Sure, yeah. So my name is Niles Story. I've been with the firm for a couple of years. I'm in the consulting practice, helping out our public sector clients in the healthcare space. Second Impact Day. The first Impact Day was different than this because I was more skills-based volunteering, which is good and has its values. But
yeah, we just talked to the team. I think Robert in the group is doing some really cool skill-based stuff here, and a little different than what we're doing.
Right, yeah, it's a little different, but this has value too. The hands-on volunteering has value as well. I just love Impact Day regardless of the type of volunteering I'm doing, just because of the shortened timeline from you have an idea till you see the impact to whoever your client or the people you're trying to help is. In the technology space, at least where I work, projects will go on for years, or you'll have an idea, in the beginning of a year, and it will be 12 months until you get to implement it and see the impact. So it's nice to, within 12 hours or 8 hours, you can have an idea, design it, and then implement it and see the impact to the kids of the community in which you're helping.
And those are some cute kids that we were playing with earlier too.
Really
I think
fun.
they'll enjoy it. They tackled us a little bit. We got hurt. We got roughed up. We're gonna have some wounds, but I think we'll survive. And hopefully we make an impact here too. So. Awesome. We're gonna go on mute. So I think it's pretty noisy here. So I do want to ask though, before I pass on, I want to talk about from the nonprofit side. We're talking about innovative technology every week, and is that something that's really, are we able to teach next generations or even the working class now those tech skills so they can go back into the marketplace with, and really be competitive in an innovative way, or is that something that's not even possible?
Why don't we give it to Kevin and see what Kevin thinks about that?
Yes, I think that's something we can do. Yeah, that's something we actually strive to work on both internally within our work capacity at our organization, as well as provide for our clients. At one of our housing sites, we actually have a computer lab, and we do have volunteers that come in and work with the residents who live there permanently to help aid their skills in whatever they might be, whether it's just basic computer skills or some form of online communications. And then we also, in our employment and job training program, we try to reach out to different corporations that could help provide either a certain type of tech training or bring in certifications or credentials that veterans might need that might not be directly transferable from the military service into the civilian sector, and help them obtain gainful employment. So it's something that can be achieved. It's a very long process to develop. It's a very collaborative process that will involve a pretty large network and a lot of stakeholders involved. But it's something that can be done if everybody works together.
So I'm curious, Kevin. I have a question for you about IoT, Internet of Things. I know actually the military is one of the places where there's been a lot of tech for a long time. Do you see the difference between people that have done a lot of tech in the military versus people who haven't? That people who have done tech have an easier time finding jobs, and for them that value gets translated into regular ongoing business?
Yeah, I'd like to say that probably just from anecdotal evidence of myself, I was in the infantry, so I mean we dealt with a lot more technology than most people realize, but I didn't realize it at the time, especially being younger, 18 to 22. Didn't realize all the soft skills and minor things that I was doing involved in that job at the time. But the ones I saw my counterparts that were very much more tech savvy, once they got out, left the military, it was a little bit easier for them to transition. I felt that a lot of employers were very apprehensive of occupations that dealt with more infantry or very frontline combat related, due to stigmas like PTSD, TBI, and other things of that sort. But even through our organization, we actually do provide trainings, work with employers to develop affinity groups at organizations, how they can do veteran hiring programs, as well as also relate the facts and then basically stigmatize those associations that were barriers to employment that I and other veterans have facing for.
Yeah, thank you. AP, story that touched you, last year's Impact Day. Tell us a little bit about it.
Absolutely. Last year last year was the first year that we decided, as part of DigiLoco, we call it DigiLoco, it's the digital local community. We have a great time. We do a lot of social events internally, but one of the first things we wanted to do was how do we take the social cause? How do we work with our society, where we're lucky to be in the Bay Area, right? We've got this tech bed. How do we teach those who don't have enough tech skills to go do their day-to-day jobs? Especially, how do we teach those who can actually make an impact on others' lives? One thing that I personally chase every day, every moment, is that aha moment. Right? I love chasing the aha moment, whether it's with clients, to see that like look on their face when they go like, yeah, that was amazing. And that's exactly what we strive to do with Impact Day last year. And I personally was sitting on this table last year, and we were going through search engine optimization, and we were just showing them, hey, let's see what your organization looks like. What do people perceive of your organization? And when someone typed it in and they didn't see themselves on the first page, while it was a little disheartening, it was still an aha moment for them to say, okay, what do I do to resolve that? Right? And that change that we can bring into our people's, the lives of other people who are in the Bay Area with us, and who are actually changing lives all the way of people in Africa. And these are people who are teaching young kids and young girls how to be better technologists, how to be better, just better in life. Impacting them, I think it was personally one of my aha moments, personally as well, to see it in their faces.
Nice. Well, I think we're coming to the end of Coffee with Mr. IoT, but there can't be any Coffee with Mr. IoT, it seems like, where I'm not curious what shoes Rachel is wearing. Rachel, I'm back to Converse, but I have to say, today it's my socks that I'm really more impressed with. And Kevin is wearing some really awesome socks and shoes, too. Look at this. This is going to become the thing here. Rachel, what's up with you? Sport shoes. Look at that. I can tell you guys got the T-shirt already. We're still working on that. We're still waiting for those. So before we close it, any closing comments, thoughts by anybody? Well, then I'll close it by saying that it makes me proud to be part of Impact Day. It's one of my favorite things with Deloitte. Rachel, Brian, thank you for joining.
Thanks, Robert. We're going to go back to building here, too. We're going to get that saw going and make some dust, make some noise, and get these kids all set up. And then hopefully get to play in it a little bit, too, because really I'm a kid at heart, so that's all I'm in it for.
Do me a favor, post a picture of the playground on the event, please. We all want to see what it ends up being, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Thanks for everyone for joining.
Thank you. This is Robert Schmid with Coffee with Mr. IoT every Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, and we'll be back next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, EP. Thank you, Jessica.